Today I'm quickly going to run my VXR through the Crony. We've got some new arrows in. This is the Black Eagle Deep Impacts 0.003 straightness. I think we are roughly about 490 grains, and I'll pop up all the specifics. This flying machine does. Oh snap, that truck is not from here, and I think I kind of know what that is. Let's go and take and have a look. So I didn't expect to receive this bow this week. Still, it's Friday, and I reckon it was only sent yesterday. So thank you, Quattro Archery. Let me show you guys what's inside. Let's go. It's always so much better in person. Damn, this is nice. This is the V3 31. If you guys followed me on Instagram, I had a story. We asked if we should turn my VXR into a V3, and I really didn't expect to have the V3 before the VXR is gone. So this means we can do a proper comparison in terms of riser length, speeds, and also shootability, which is the most important part, obviously, for me. And yeah, this also shows that I'm a huge hypocrite, because I said that I will not sell my VXR for a new bow, V3 now, and here we are. So sorry guys, I lied to you, but it's always cool to have new toys. Let's jump into this build. This is going to be fun. What we'll do now is I'm going to strip the VXR, especially my engage rest, my integrate rest, my sight, quiver bracket, SCS system and everything, rebuild it onto the V3, and then because I want to do a back-to-back comparison, I'm going to put another QAD rest on this bow along with an HS Pro Axle sight, so that we can go and shoot them outside. Obviously both of them have 75-pound modules on it, and then slap some stabilizers on the new bow. I'm thinking of building a FDE Vulcan Pro set for this new bow. I think it will look actually pretty cool with the ambush green. And then just keep the dendros for a bit on this bow until I have to send it back. I don't know when that's going to be, hopefully not too soon. And then yeah, put the new bow through its paces, get it tuned up, set the draw length in with the cables, just going to fine tune it a bit and see what the major differences are between these two bows in terms of shootability, because that's what I'm worried about. If you can get this bow for minus 20-25%, then obviously the VXR is the winner. In my case, I'll obviously buy this bow again, but I got a sweet deal on the V3 thanks again to Quattro Archery. So yeah, I'm gonna strip this one and put everything on this bow, So you actually have two bows to build because I want my primary accessories on the new bow, obviously. What I want to do now is put the two bows limb pockets next to each other to see the difference in the riser length. And I've seen in a few Facebook groups that the guy says it is exactly the same, but the pitch of the limbs differs a bit, and by the looks of it you can see a lot more flex on the limbs with the V3 than on the VXR. I don't think it's good or bad, but that's one of the first differences that I can see. And wow, that's about pretty much the same. Just look at that. Wow. So if you put the limb pockets together, the only difference where you can see is here where the axles go through on these bolts. One on the black bow or the VXR is sticking out a bit further on top. So riser to riser length, I'd say, is exactly the same between these two bows. This one will give you a half an inch more on the axle to axle, and by the looks of it, it also seems like the grip of the V3 is also sitting a bit higher. So I'm really looking forward to quickly slap on a loop, put in a peep and see what it does outside. I'm quickly going to put it into the drawboard and just at least check that the timing is in, doesn't look too bad, and then shoot it a few shots before we set up the VXR with the spare equipment, because I'm dying and burning to feel what this bow feels like. Even if it's just up close, I just want to run through the draw cycle real quick. And then also I've seen a few claims that the vibration is a lot less. The VXR already had little to none vibration, so can it get any better? I have no clue. So I'm quickly going to check that the timing is in, so that we have a fade contest between this and the VXR. Okay, so it's definitely a bit late on the bottom cam. Gonna make a few adjustments and then throw it through the paper. From these few shots, I can already feel that there is a significant difference in the draw cycle, but I'll be able to tell the exact difference if I have the VXR set up and I shoot them back to back. But already it's dead quiet. I have a pretty solid wall. I think the timing is perfectly in according to these two marks on the cams, and the vibration, as always, is second to none. The goal with the VXR is to get it set up as close as possible to the V3. So I'm also putting a quad rest on it, also an axle sight. We have the Vero mount from Quattro Archery and a set of demo dentros. Also 11-inch front, 8-inch back, the exact same that's on the V3. So I'm quickly gonna build this bow, get both of them sighted in on 40 and 50 and give you guys some feedback on the differences and the shootability and so on. See what pops up, and I'm gonna share that with you guys. Before we go outside, I'm quickly going to run them through the paper, especially the VXR that has a different rest on it. This will be pretty close because I just took it off the VXR as is. So if there's anything wrong, it will probably be somewhere on the top hats. Just for a basic tuning sake, so the arrows fly more or less straight, so that I can give both of them a fair chance. The VXR is already tuned for my grip, so we'll only need to adjust the rest in order to get it to shoot bullet holes. On this one, I have no clue. I saw that these two top hats are the opposite of top cam on that one. So I'll show you guys how to tune with your top hats as well, but in a separate video. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you're not already, if you want to know how to tune with top hats. So let me quickly throw an arrow through here. So as predicted, I have a tail right there, so I'll sort that out afterwards. And then I'm quickly gonna, I'm happy with that. I don't think that will make too much of a difference. And the sight should also still be in on 40 and 50 because it came from the VXR. It just depends on the difference in speeds. First, I'm gonna eyeball this rest and then set it up more or less, throw it through the paper and see what comes out. It's more or less in the middle. Let's give it a shot. Okay, on the first shot I forgot to time the rest correctly, but with the second one we more or less have a bullet hole. So now it's down to the target to set these two in and see how they group. Okay, so the VXR is in on 40. I think we'll do some kind of elimination match so that we can keep score between the two bows. I think on 40 yards it's far enough to highlight any deviances or differences between the two bows in terms of pin float, aiming ability and so on. Hey! And then yeah, I'm just quickly going to shoot a shot with the V3 to make sure this one is in as well, and then we can start. Okay, so I kind of messed up with the VXR. I do not know what happened here. I think these might be human error. I have no clue. But yeah, we have a 50 and a 28. Yeah. 29 and a 50. 28 and again a 50. Okay, 28 and another 28. Final round, 28, 29. So we have a winner. A quick disclaimer, the test that I've just done between the V3 and the VXR is a bit useless. And before that you're thinking that I'm going to defend the V3, let me quickly explain why. Firstly, I'm not being paid by Mathews to boost the sales of the V3, but in any way. I've been perfecting the setup of the VXR for the past 3 months. It has a custom string on it that's tailored to my draw length, and it also has undergone a top hat tuning session for my specific grip. So just with that two changes being made, it is a lot better fine-tuned. So with the V3, we just bolted on all the accessories, popped in a peep, tied a loop on, set everything at center shot, and the setup took us about 20 minutes versus the 3 months with the VXR. Lastly, I'm nowhere near fit enough to do a test like this. I should have left this for my brother because he's fit enough, and he's also used to shooting in heat like this, so it doesn't really matter what score I produce with the V3 and the VXR. Also notice that the V3 has different strings on it, and it's actually a month later upon receiving the bow. I wanted to spend a bit more time with this bow to get to know its ins and outs and to give a bit more detailed and accurate feedback to you guys. Otherwise, this just would have been a review that's been influenced by some unboxing excitement. So what do I think of the V3 after using it just a bit more than a month? Well, first off, let's start with the draw cycle. A friend and I concluded that a new draw cycle only lasts for about 100 arrows, which is ridiculous, right? But that's because of your muscles adapting that fast to the new cycle, and it won't be before long that you forget how much harsher or easier the new draw cycle is. But I stick with my initial impression for the V3's draw cycle. It's definitely a bit smoother, and I think I know why. The smoother draw cycle might be due to the shorter limb cups on the V3. You now have more limb material to flex and produce the same amount of energy than on the VXR. And as far as my knowledge stretches and my observation goes, these are the exact same cams that came from the VXR. So that's the only difference that can produce this minor change in the draw cycle feel. The grip. Earlier in the video I speculated that the grip of the V3 might be sitting a bit closer to the middle of the bow. After taking some measurements on both the V3 and the VXR, from the bottom limb bolt bushing to the deepest point in the grip, we got the exact same numbers. So this is the exact same riser that came from the VXR with a few different cutouts. That leads me to the next point. The V3's riser, it might be a bit lighter than what the VXR's was, but due to the less material on the limb cups, it can also add up to the 0.16 pound weight difference that the V3 is lighter than the VXR. It is not a lot of weight that it's lighter. It is the equivalent of 2 of these stabilizer weights from Quattro Archery, which I think it equates to 2.5 ounces, where 2 of these weights are 3 ounces. So do what you want with that specifications. It's not really good or bad. It's not a lot of weight that you save. You can't talk about weight without mentioning the bow's ability to hold on target. In order to make a bow a bit more stable, or an easy way to make a bow a bit more stable on target, is by adding a bit more weight, but at the expense of faster muscle fatigue. I really liked the way how the VXR held on target. Just when I got it, it felt like a proper target bow, and I was really impressed with how it performs. But on the VXR, when the wind came up, it tended to fish a bit, especially on 50 meters. It's obviously a lot more apparent because every single bit of movement on that distance is a lot more than, let's say, on something like 30 yards. But surprisingly, with the lighter V3, I was able to not have that fish when the wind came up in this past month. I do not know how they got it right to eliminate that, but from my experience, I didn't have that fishing effect at full draw at all. And it's mind-boggling because these are 2 very similar bows with the same let-offs and the same poundage. So, well done, Mathews. I really do not have an answer for why that particular movement disappeared. Then there's the addition of the center guard. It's one of the small additions that I feel that makes sense in my engineering mind. Adding more symmetry between the cams will lead to better arrow flight and easier fine-tuning for your specific grip and arrow setup. Claiming that you'll have better clearance with the center guard than on the VXR, I feel is far-fetched. I have the same clearing issues on the V3 that I had on the VXR, and because I shoot the integrate rest that drops fairly quick out of the way, it allows me to shoot my arrow setup like this. So the big question is, should you sell your VXR for the V3? If you don't mind setting up new bows and going through the hassle to sell them like I do, and you have the extra cash or can get a sweet deal on a V3, then by all means do it. The V3 is a refined VXR. It is what it is. If I had the opportunity to keep the VXR 31.5, I would definitely go for the V327. That's just to have both platforms available for the different hunting scenarios you can find yourself. So if you want to try out the Mathews brand and their platform at a budget, I'll definitely opt for the VXR. There's nothing wrong with those bows, and you'll probably be able to find a new one on sale because of the V3 being back in stock now. That's just my verdict and my opinion on these bows. Stay tuned for the speed test between the V3 and the VXR. We've heard some disturbing numbers and reports from especially shorter guys claiming some huge numbers. So I'm definitely going to find out what the speed difference is between the V3 and the VXR in a separate video, as well as showing you the top hat tuning process on the Mathews bows. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.